Hi everybody. So, you'll notice that I don't have any desktop audio on, at least I hope that's how it's working. Um, but I I'd like to this is a different video than what I usually do. But I I just kind of was thinking I don't have like the editing skills, at least as of right now, to do like a take the video, remove all the sound, then make a editing script, then I mean commentary script, then all that. So I'm just gonna do, I guess, live commentary. And if this blows up, hey, who knows? Maybe I'll become a commentary channel. I'll talk about current political events and how this is gonna affect Clash Royale servers. So yeah, but gonna be playing Spider-Man 2 in the background, and that was ass. Don't judge me. Um, I just want to talk. You know, I I've been dealing with um a bit right now. That's why, to anybody who actually cares about my uploads, just haven't uploaded in a while. Um Finals week, all that. Average teenager shit. Don't expect you to care. You know how it is. But basically, um I wanted to talk about racism. Um Now, I'd like to say to anybody who's new here, I'm mixed. I'm half black. Um, and I just want that to be known. My skin color is very light, and I know it may not come off as I am as me being black. If you were to look at me and tell me that you believe I'm 100% Caucasian and nothing else, and you just don't know how I have the type of hair I do, I wouldn't judge you. I would look at you and I'd say, you're wrong, but I understand that. Because I just don't really look like it. Um, I've been. I've heard people say that I don't sound black enough. That I don't. That I. And normally I would want to talk about this because that's, in my opinion, if like in my opinion at least, I think that is racist. But I'm not talking about that today. I want to talk about the other side of it. For the people that do believe I'm black, um, today when I was walking home from school with my girlfriend and I was having a pretty good day, I was having a pretty good walk, I was enjoying myself. Um, Two white boys decided to drive by, and when they saw me, they took it upon themselves to yell the hard R at me from their car. And my girlfriend, I didn't even have time to react to this. All I know is that my girlfriend let go of my hand, started walking towards their truck, and when they saw that somebody is getting near them, they drove away and hit a sharp turn and hit a sharp right turn, and I don't know where they went. Um don't know what happened to them, nothing. But what I do know is that um just didn't make me happy. And usually I like to try and ignore these things. I've dealt with racism my whole life. I've dealt with people insulting me, hating me. I have dealt with just about everything my entire life. And it just, I get, like, recently it's just been bothering me, I guess, because um I like like middle school dealt with a lot of racism. We had multiple racist teachers at my school. Um, Multiple of them. I watched call other black kids thugs. I watched them kick them out of their rooms and accuse them of stealing things. And um the administration never did anything about this. I'm in high school now. I'm in my sophomore year, and recently, just recently, one of my coworkers who we're not sure if they're gonna work there anymore. Um, when I walked up to them at my job and I go as a joke, like they're doing dishes, and as a joke, I said, "Hey, what's your favorite rapper?" Just like messing around with them. I wanted to start a conversation with them. I didn't know them. I wanted to have a conversation with them. I wanted to maybe be friends with them. That's all I really wanted. And they look at me and they go, "I don't listen to your kind's music." I had never talked to them before in my life. I didn't know them, and they took it upon themselves to say that to me right away, which hurt. Um, but what am I gonna do? I've had multiple people at work make racial jokes at me, call me racial slurs. I've heard managers there to when I brought when I brought up how I was mad about it, they said, "Oh yeah, at least I'm gonna like." They said, "Oh yeah, I'd like to be nice to you before I call you a nigga. I want to be your friend first, so we're cool. So you're cool with it." I've known and I'm not gonna pretend that I've never turned a blind eye. I had in my elementary and middle school years, I had heard about if I remember right, I was in I think 5th grade when yeah, I was in 5th grade when George Floyd was killed. And I had heard about I had heard about what happened to him, and it made me resent being half black. It made me resent the idea that I was black. It made me terrified to be black because I was scared that it could happen to me. I was scared that somebody could that a cop or somebody that just doesn't like me could look at me one day and go, "He's violent." And I could get killed on the street, and it would all be because of something that I could never change. And because of this, for the next 2 years, I would barely ever let my hair go above a buzz. I would always trim it down. I would try and hide the fact that I was black. I would never wear any clothes. I would always wear long coats in the summer so my skin wouldn't tan. I would always try and be as white passing as possible because I didn't like the idea that I could end up like that. And as a result, at one point, I almost tried to I guess, act as if I never was, and that and that it just didn't, and that that's just not a part of who I am, and that's not true. Um, I ended up, I ended up, I would hear people make jokes and make racist comments to other black people, and I would sit and laugh. I'm not proud of that. I'm I would just ignore it because I thought to myself, if I get loud then I'm in danger. And I had this one person who I'm no longer friends with. I'd like to say I to anybody who doesn't know, I've long distanced myself from this. I'm not like this anymore. Um and that's why I feel comfortable to talk about it. I want to be I am different, but I want to be different. I want to fully stop. I never want to be associated with how I was in 7th grade, in 6th grade, and I've tried my hardest to fully ignore the chance that I could be like that. I know that to some people 3 years just isn't enough time. Like some people might think that I'm still the same, and to anybody who holds on to that bias, I'm not gonna hold anything against you. If you hear this and what you take away from it is, wow, he's a piece of shit and he's racist, then I won't say anything because at the end of the day, I wasn't good. I wasn't. I was a bad person, and it's that simple. Um, but I never wanted to hold on to that part of my identity. I and I had friends who would um like who walked up to me and they'd say, "Stick with me. I know the cool black people." And I didn't know it at the time, but the cool black people meant people who would let him say the N-word to their face and wouldn't get mad about it. that was a cool black person in their eyes. That was that was a black person who deserved his respect, because if he didn't get that, then he didn't want to be their friend, and he had accused him of being overly sensitive. I'm sorry, I'm getting mad, but he and I'm ashamed to admit that I heard him say this, and I looked at him and I said, okay. I look at him and I go, all right, whatever, man. I didn't care, because again, to me it was like I just didn't want to be associated with half of my identity. Like, and it got to a point that I couldn't live with it, I would because I would go to my grandma's house knowing that the next day I'd go to my grandma's on Sunday knowing that the next day I would go to school, and I would hear people constantly insult my identity, my heritage. I would hear people talk about exactly everything in people I hated and people that made me scared to be half of myself, and then I would sit there and laugh at it. I hated that. Um and Or a substitute teacher at Central told me that a do-rag when I was trying to keep my hair in set was distracting, and it was too disruptive for it to be in his class. And when I told him it's not against school rules, he told me he just doesn't want it in his classroom. Mind you, a substitute teacher, not even his classroom, but he still wanted it not to be in there. Why? Don't know, but I have a pretty good sneaking suspicion. And what made me even more mad is a man who I am friends with, Javen, who is also part black, who had a similar upbringing to me. When I told him about this, he looked at me and said, "So you snitched on him?" I was mad, because how how do we come from the same areas? How do we have similar style parents, similar style homes? How are we so similar? Yet when you hear this, you think I snitched on a man for telling the principal about it, and asking if it's against school rules. This is very different from my usual video. I don't know how many people are gonna watch this. I don't even know what I'm gonna title it yet. But to the people who do watch it, I don't even know what message I want to like get off with this video. I wanted to be better, because it was like, before I even knew it was taking away, like, it was hurting me mentally to be like that. And it drove me to a lot of really dark mental states and bad places. I was not mentally okay for a really long time because of it. And I don't know how many people are going to look at this and go and call me a pussy or anything for because of some words. And I'm sure there will be people who could hear this who I could tell this whole story to, and they would look at me and they'd say, "It's just a word, you need to calm down." And I know it's just a word, but that word carries a lot of weight. And I know I'll say it heavily. I'll say it around, but I say it around people that, like, I know are chill with it, because I know, again, my skin doesn't look like it. My skin doesn't look like I can say it, and a lot of the times the people that do believe that I'm black enough believe it just so they can call me a slur. So, most of the times whenever I talk about how I'm worried that I just don't like whenever I talk to people and say that I'm worried that even though, like, I know I'm black, I don't look like I am, and that's going to make people mad at me for it. And whenever I bring that up, the most I've ever gotten told is, "Well, your hair gives it away." And in 7th grade, that was my biggest fear. It was my biggest fear was that my hair was going to be the reason that somebody goes, "He's black enough." And that terrified me a lot. Um I've gotten people who told me that I was too white to have a hairstyle. I got braids and I was told that I was too white. I got twists and I got told that I was too white. But then um but then on the same spectrum of the same haircuts, I got told by racist people that I'm starting to look the part. It feels like I can't win. And I don't know, again, I don't know how many people are even going to care about this video, but to those that do, it means a lot to me. And I'm glad that there's a good chance that somebody is going to see this video and they're going to be like in agreement with me, or they've experienced similar things to me, and I don't know, maybe I can like cheer somebody up, or like I can give the idea the somebody and help them through the idea that they're going through similar things as somebody else. And if you are, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to tell you how I'm going through. I'd love to tell you how I deal with it. I'd love to talk to you and explain to you how um it's gonna be like all right. I would love to do that. And if you would love, and if you are going through similar things, just say it in the comments. I read all my comments because I'm a small channel, and so I have time to look at all of them because I usually get maybe 3 max. The most I've ever gotten was when I posted a video on my birthday, and that meant a lot to me because I had a really bad birthday that year. But if you guys like these style of videos and you think this is a really like good use of my platform, the small one I have, then I'll use it more. Anyways, I hope all of you have a great day, and I hope that the things I deal with never affect any of you guys. Have a great day, all of you. Thank you.